What's good, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're in a little different spot. We're not in LA as we usually are. We are in Las Vegas. It was my birthday this past week, I guess, so I went to Las Vegas. But I couldn't just not go to Las Vegas and not go to a manga store, so I found one. We're going to Manga Hole in Las Vegas. It's a small shop in this small plaza, and hopefully they have some good stuff. I think they will, because they have pretty good reviews, and the store looks pretty cool. And for the question of the day, before I forget, I'd like to know what is a manga that you would recommend to a beginner, because there might be some beginners that need some recommendations, so let me know in the comments below.
So let's talk about Manga Hole. In all honesty, this is a local shop, and honestly it is pretty much on par with like Kinokuniya and Barnes & Noble, in my opinion. I mean, they had art books, they had box sets, they had all of the new manga that was released, and they even had some older titles, which was pretty nice to see. I mean, the selection was great, and in all honesty, it was just a nice little shop, pretty cozy vibes, and the owners were great. I had a conversation with them, and it was all good. They also had some figures there and some like anime merchandise there and some Japanese snacks, which rounded out the experience. So yeah, I would say it's pretty good, and I would highly recommend going there. But looking at their manga shelf, they had stuff like Boys Run the Riot, Beastars, Blood on the Tracks. They had the Bakemonogatari manga, which interested me, and they honestly had a very organized section. It was all organized by alphabetical order, and yeah, I didn't have any trouble finding stuff. They also had things like the Bleach 20th anniversary, I think it's the 20th anniversary, and yeah, it was pretty nice to see that. They had some Chainsaw Man, they had some Classroom of the Elite, some Combatants Can't Be Dispatched. They even had some Gantz omnibuses below the Chainsaw Man stuff, and yeah, they also had Vanitas there as well, which I want to get into. Gigant was there as well, and like I said, the Gantz omnibuses were there. And then looking further, they had things like Nozaki-kun, Laid Back Camp, Komi Can't Communicate, so a pretty good variety of stuff, old and new. Another thing that they had that was pretty cool was a boys love section. Me personally, I'm not too into it, but I do want to get into things like Given and all of the other critically acclaimed boys love stuff. I wish they did have a Yuri section, because Yuri is more my wave. I would have loved to see some Bloom Into You there, but unfortunately they're out of print, and the owner actually checked for me, and yeah, it seems they're going to be out of print, but they did have a separate section for boys love, so yeah, and they had a very interesting manga, as you can see. Yeah, but the boys love section was pretty chill, in all honesty. They also had the slime box set, which I was debating on picking up. It included a set of puffy slime stickers if I really wanted it, but in all honesty, I'm not as big of a fan of slime as I was before. Yeah, but they also had some Soul Eater, which I do want to get into. They didn't have volume 1, unfortunately, so I didn't pick it up, but I am debating on reading the manga or watching the anime. But going back to the main shelf, again, you can see they had some Gantz, they had some Boys Run the Riot, the Bleach 20th anniversary cover, and they had some things like Bestia, Behind the Scenes, and of course, Black Goater. Who doesn't like Black Clover? More Blood on the Tracks was over there. I have heard great reviews about this, and my girlfriend also says that it's a pretty good series, so maybe I'll read it. The covers are for sure interesting. Yeah, another thing they had was Cat Gamer. Not sure what it's about, but I did like the cover. It was pretty cute. And they also had things like Die Dark, Demon Slayer, Devil Ecstasy, which I don't really know about. And then they had the mainstream stuff like Jujutsu Kaisen, which I do want to get into. I know season 2 is coming out, so I might just wait for that. Imperfect Girl, I'm Standing on a Million Lives, and yeah. Looking further, they had things like No Guns Life. I've seen this a bunch of times in manga shops, but I've never really been interested in it. They also had One Piece Volume 1. I don't know if I'll ever get into One Piece. It's a super long commitment, but if I ever have the time, maybe. They had something like Orange there as well, Orient, Penguin Drum Volume 5. They had Mao, Mushoku Tensei, Love and Focus. Yeah, They didn't have the Mushoku Tensei light novels, but they did have the manga, so that's something worth noting. Looking further, they had things like Shadow's House, Rising of the Shield Hero, Sailor Moon, The Detective is Already Dead, and yeah. They also had The Devil is a Part-Timer. I noticed they had a lot of manga that were originally light novels, so there's that. They also had The Breaker, which I think is a webtoon, so it was nice to see a webtoon or manhwa that is making its way to the mainstream. And then they also had Blue Period, which is my favorite, and Call of the Night next to it. I do want to read the manga. I don't know if I should watch the anime. More Vanitas is up there as well, and then they also had more of The Breaker. They had some Nagatoro there as well. I'm surprised they had a lot of Volume 1s here, because usually at my local stores there aren't really a lot of Volume 1s, unfortunately. So there's some Fire Force, some Fire Punch, some Fly Me to the Moon. I've heard Fire Punch is pretty good. It's got pretty divisive reviews that I know of, so maybe I'll check it out. Kubo Won't Let Me Be Invisible. It's a pretty fluffy manga. Haven't read it myself, but I do know a lot of people who like it on Twitter. Konosuba, Kaiju number 8. They also had Volume 2 there. Volume 2 or Volume 3? Volume 2, which came out. Kageki Shoujo, more Jujutsu Kaisen. I look back at Kageki Shoujo because I have heard that it's kind of like Revue Starlight, which is my favorite anime to ever exist. So yeah. They had some Pretty Boy Detective Club as well, some Pokemon manga, and some ReZero, some Spy Family there as well. There's the iconic ReZero episode 18, I believe, with Rem. Yeah, they had some Mashle, My Hero Academia, Mirko-chan, Mars Red, Mob Psycho 100, which is getting a season 2 in a couple of weeks by the time I'm recording this, which I'm really excited for. They had some Hanako-kun, the 100 Girlfriends That Love You Very Much was in the corner over there. Yeah, they just had a bunch of titles here, and some that, I don't really see in regular bookstores, which is really nice. They also had Zom 100, The Yakuza's Guide to Babysitting, which is a seasonal right now, and then they had Undead Unluck, which I've heard decent reviews on, so if I'm ever in the mood for some shonen, maybe I'll check it out. And to round it all out, they did have Berserk omnibuses as well, which is cool to see. Keeping with the theme of being well organized, I noticed that they had a new release section, and they had a manga called The Blood Taker there, which I was pretty interested in. And looking at the reviews, maybe I shouldn't have been, because they were pretty low. They also had Chain Soldier, which Kazu hates the name of. Shout out to Kazu if you're watching this. They had Teasing Master Takagi-san, the new volume releases. And then they had The Duke of Death and His Maid, which is one of my favorite romances. Volume 2 had just come out that day, I think. So it was really nice to see that they had that there. They also had The Saga of Tanya the Evil, which is an isekai and originally a light novel. They had some Imakoi, which I'm not sure is about what that's about. Mob Psycho 100 Volume 9. The Geek X Hitman, no idea what that's about. The Tokyo Revenger Omnibus for Volumes 3 to 4. Some Attack on Titan Omnibuses for Volumes 16 through 18. They had some Kingdom, My Dress Up Darling. And yeah, I was really happy with how this store was organized, because it was really easy to navigate through, and yeah, it was really easy to just look for what you wanted. They also had the Reign of the Seven Spellblades manga. I do own the light novels, volumes 1 through 2, but I haven't really been reading it, and I've been thinking of selling it, so I'm not sure. They also had some Takamine-san and some Welcome Back Alice. And then looking further at the new release section, they had some, I believe it was a Chinese, I don't know what manga is in China, but they did have the novels there. They had Chitose in a Ramune bottle, or is a Ramune bottle. And once again, they had the Yakuza's Guide to Babysitting there, and then Cherry Magic, and some other light novels there as well. They also had Shikimori, Bakemonogatari 15, Zom 100, Blue Period Volume 8, which I had picked up, and then the new releases for Hanako-kun. They also had some Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, which is pretty cool. And then looking at this shelf over here, they had more Full Metal Alchemist stuff, the omnibuses, the Full Metal editions. They also had a light novel section, which I had noticed, And I was like, huh, that's pretty neat for a local store to have a light novel section. They did have volume 3 of Pretty Boy Detective Club, as well as some ReZero novels, which looked pretty cool, but I decided against buying those. Some Seven Deadly Sins omnibuses over there, and some Spice and Wolf novels as well. And then more Attack on Titan, and more Heaven's Blessing. And then one thing I noticed about the shop is that there was like no wasted space. I mean, whenever I looked around in the shelves, they were always fully packed. Like this one, it had Fruits Basket, JoJo's, and honestly, it was kind of sometimes hard to look through these shelves because they were so low, but you have to crouch down and see them, and you'll probably find some gems. They also had the Silent Voice, I guess, Ultimate Edition there as well. And then they had another shelf. I mean, when I'm telling you they had shelves, they had a bunch of shelves with stuff in it. I mean, look at it. They had so much stuff. They had some Cells at Work. They had some Dragon Quest over there. As you can see, 20th Century Boys and 21st Century Boys. They also had Pun Pun Volume 4, which I had been looking for, some Gleipnir next to it, some Golden Kamui in that shelf. I mean, it was great. They had a bunch of stuff, and it was really nice to see it. They had the Death Note Black Editions, Fist of the North Star next to it, which I've heard a lot of people have good reviews about. I don't know if I'll check it out, but you know, it's cool to see. Dorohedoro was there, Hell's Paradise is there, which even though I'm not the biggest fan of, it's cool to see it in the store. Inuyashiki was there as well, King Eden, and yeah, I'm not really sure how to describe the shelf. It just had a bunch of titles in it. The owner did tell me that they were running out of space, so I get it. You can't really organize everything perfectly, but they did have a lot of selection, and I'm really happy about that. Solo Leveling was there as well, and you know, me, as usual, had trouble putting it back, so there was that. Record of Ragnarok and the Plunderer next to it. I'm not sure if the Plunderer was a manhwa. It might have been. But they also had the Monster omnibuses, which I was really, really tempted to buy. But we ended up not buying it and ended up going with another omnibus. Spoilers. But yeah, just rounding out these shelves, just showing you guys like how much selection they have. And they also had some figures there because, you know, me, I'm an avid figure collector, so it was cool seeing that this store had a variety of manga, light novels, art books, figures, and yeah, it's a totally awesome shop that I would highly recommend if you're in the Las Vegas area. The owners are super chill. They're looking for a new space to expand because they said they're running out of room, so good luck to them. And then, yeah, this is just me looking at some of the stuff that I'm interested in. As you can see, I pick up the Duke of Death and His Maid Volume 2. I knew the second I saw it that I was going to get it, so yeah, I had to get it. And then also looking back over here, I said the Bakemonogatari manga did pique my interest, so I did go get it. But yeah, overall, my experience here was amazing. Super cool, super chill, and it was nice to be in an air-conditioned place with manga while it was hot as hell in Vegas.
Alright y'all, so we are out of the store. Shout out to Brendan who helped me out, recognized me from the channel, had a good conversation about manga. It was pretty cool. So if you guys are ever in Las Vegas, make sure you go to Manga Hole and check out the place. They have like a great selection of a variety of things. So it's like a really unique store, really small store, so it'd be good to support them. Really cool people. And I was able to get a pretty good selection of stuff. First off, we got volume 2 of the Duke of Death and His Maid. This is a really cute, wholesome romance series, which I really enjoy. So I had to pick it up. I do have volume 1. We also have volume 8 of Bakemonogatari. I do know I still need volume 6, but they had volume 8, so I picked this up as well. And then finally we got Goodnight Pun Pun, volume 4. So yeah, pretty standard stuff. And yeah, so if you're ever in Las Vegas, again, make sure you go to Manga Hole. Pretty cool spot. But thanks for watching the video. I appreciate y'all coming back to the channel and supporting it. We're almost at 2,000 subs, which is pretty insane to me. I didn't think I'd reach 2,000 by the end of the year, so we're coming up on it. So it's pretty nice. But yeah, thanks again for watching the video, and I'll see you in the next one. As always, peace.